It's the Score North Twin Show.
And it's a Trevor Plouffe Tuesday. Our guy Trevor Plouffe, former Minnesota Twin, member of John Boy Media. The Twins are the hottest team in baseball, man. It's like 3 weeks of just scorching Twins baseball. Bailey Ober is apparently a Cy Young candidate overnight. He's been good in the past couple of years. You got Ryan Jeffers is one of the best hitters in baseball. We should just ask Trevor this question every single week. Twins vibes are blank right now, Trev.
They got to be high. I mean, Twins territory vibes are high. You guys saw the power rankings that we put out. We have from Talking Baseball yesterday. Twins are number 7, I believe, in all of baseball on the rankings. That's what happens when you win 17 of the last 20 games.
Let's go. Number 7.
You get ranked that high. You get ranked above the team that's above you. Like, they're playing really good baseball right now. And again, like, you can look back to the 12-game winning streak and say, well, that was the White Sox and the Angels. But they beat 3 pretty dang good teams in a row, won the series, 3 series in a row from pretty good teams as well. So they're riding hot, man.
They've continued it. That was my thing. It's like, and look, I mean, if you get confidence against the Sox and Angels, that's fine. But like, I was very much in the camp of, okay, let's see if you can win series, right? Because that's the simplest thing. It's like, you're not going to win. It's baseball. You're going to lose games, but can you win series? 6 consecutive series wins, and they should have and damn near did sweep the Blue Jays. Yes. Like, to me, it's like the last 3 series that have been really impressive, because that completes the fact that the turnaround is real. It's not a fluke at this point.
And they could have swept the Mariners as well. I mean, Kyle Raleigh comes up and steps up and hits that big homer, and that's against that's that pitching staff. To be able to do what they did against that pitching staff is very, very impressive. But I think this is what I think. That's all in the past now, because it's a big week of Twins baseball. Yankees, Guardians. I mean, you gotta keep doing it. Got to keep going.
Yeah, it feels like a measuring stick week, right, Trev? I mean, you got the Yankees who are just red hot, the Guards who are a game up right now, but also Twins have a couple games in hand. They'll get them for 3 games this weekend. It just feels like this is the measuring stick. I mean, yes, they've had the 17 of 20, which has been great. They had the winning streak, which is awesome, but the games in front of you, I feel like these will start to see. Like, I think there's still some fans, at least here locally, Trev, like, that are just kind of still waiting for the Twins to really see if this is legit. Man, a couple series wins against the Yankees and Guards, and I think you're going to see a huge buy-in locally here on the Twins.
I feel like that happens every year regardless of how you're playing. Everyone's skeptical because of past performances, whatever it may be. That's just sports in general. But the thing about baseball is it's nice to win 17 out of 20, but there's just no let-up. Like, it keeps coming. More baseball games, because you do Yankees and Guardians, then you're going to play against the Nationals, who've been playing pretty dang good baseball. Then you got Texas, then you got Kansas City, then you got Houston. Who knows where they'll be at that point? Like, Houston could just turn it around at any given point.
Verlander could be on the Twins by that point. You know, it'd be crazy.
Maybe Alex Bregman fills in for Royce Lewis.
Wow, dude. Wow.
Yeah, it's contract year, right? For Bregman?
Contract year. They're not doing great. I think I actually just answered this question not too long ago. That's going to be one of the more interesting trade pieces. I mean, depending on where Houston is in the standings. If they're back in it whatsoever, I don't think he goes anywhere. But if they continue and they're 10 games out in July, whatever, like, Alex Bregman will be a huge trade chip.
You were around, what year? You were 2010 through, what was your last year with the Twins? Remind me.
16.
16? So it was kind of
a long time ago. Shoot.
It is. It's like that was
We're all
8 years
getting
ago,
old,
man.
Trevor.
It's crazy.
It happens, man.
Yeah.
Can't stop it.
Actually, I just got a text from Matt Chapman. It sounds like he's going to join the Score North Twin Show starting next week.
I got called
crazy. Yeah.
He should.
Yeah, it was really
He's probably
exciting.
better at me at this, too. Actually, that's one thing I'm confident I'm better than Matt Chapman in is baseball media.
Podcasting.
Okay.
But you kind of there was a Twins Yankees playoff series in 2010. Like, I mean, it's been 25 years of Twins fan nervousness about the Yankees, and the record reflects the reason why the fans are nervous. But did you sense that when you played for the Twins? Like the reporters would come up and be like, "Hey, so the Yankees have won like 90% of the games in the Gardy era or whatever." It's always felt like the Twins can't stop staring at the pinstripes, you know, so to speak. Did you ever feel that among like fans and media here in the Twin Cities?
It kind of went both ways. So when you're playing, you're like, what do I care what happened to the guys 10 years ago? That wasn't this team. That wasn't me. Like, that shouldn't come into play. And really, it shouldn't come into play. You're talking about, like I said, completely different rosters going up against each other. I understand why the fans have that perspective, because you're watching the uniforms play and you've just seen it happen again and again and again. At the same time, though, there is... And regardless if players will tell you this while they're playing or not, like, there is a difference when you play a team like the Yankees and their fans travel to your stadium, or you go to Yankee Stadium. It does feel a little bit different. The same thing you could say about, the Red Sox, or, any of the good teams who kind of spend money, who have the history. Like, there is something different about playing those teams. And I don't think it really affects the outcomes of the game too much, but there is a different feel to the games at the very least. So I think every year, if you polled the Twins before they play the Yankees, I think most guys would say, "Who cares what happened in the past? It's a brand new year." That's just kind of the athlete mentality.
In 19, they tried, but I felt like by the time the series started, Trev, they had been asked about it so much that it was ingrained. Like in 19, they're like, it has nothing to do with us. We don't care. Like Rocco was like, and at first they were right, but it was like daily questions, and you could see it start to where that's where I'm curious about the mind of a player, because the players obviously are going to say, we don't care, we don't read, we don't listen. And I'm always thought, it might be true of some of you, but it can't be true of all of you. How much when you get into that psyche in the clubhouse, how much of that stuff is true, and how much of that is just an attempt to sort of stave off the outside noise, but it does get in?
I think it's almost impossible to completely, shut off the noise, because number one, you got the TVs running in the clubhouse. Most of the time they're on MLB Network. So you're seeing, whatever bozo. I mean, there's only one bozo on that network talking about, I'm not going to say who it is. You guys probably already know who it is. So it's, and then you get asked the questions, and then everyone has social media. So like it does become near impossible to shut the noise off completely. I will say this. This is from my experience and a couple guys. I mean, I know the player's mentality. When you're going well, you really don't filter out the noise whatsoever. You kind of embrace the noise. You take it in. You say, look at all these people giving me props and praise. And then when you're going bad, you're like, nope, out. Tune it out. Don't even look at anything. That's what I would do. And I wouldn't like deep dive. If I had a good game, it's not like I'm searching my name or whatever like that, but you're like, hey, let me look at my highlights tonight. Let me see, what on the MLB app. Let me see my home run that I hit or whatever it is.
You get home and you
moments.
pour an IPA, dim the lights, and turn on your highlights.
You do. I mean, I'm not going to say I've never done that. You pretty much described a few of my nights when I played for the Twins, 100%. I go,
honey,
what
are you doing in there? Nothing.
Yeah, like pour me a Todd the Axeman, and I'll watch some homers that I hit.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even think it's called Todd the Axeman anymore. I think it's just called Axeman. But I think when things are going bad, you tend to tune it out way more than when things are going well.
Feels like, too, with the pitching staff the Twins have had here, Trev. I mean, they get Pablo, they get Ryan, they get Joe Ryan for 2 of these 3 games against the Yankees. Like, at least the PTSD, I think that did creep in for a lot of Twins fans, is the pitching staff sometimes didn't really have the horses to compete with, the Sabathias of the world when they were at their primes and everyone else. And, I mean, you got 3, including Bailey Ober, who's going to pitch in Cleveland, but you got 2 of your aces, basically, Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez, against a really good Yankees lineup. I mean, look, Soto and Judge are 2 of the best offensive players in the game, but it's a luxury for the first time for a lot of Twins fans that they have basically 2 aces, 2 Cy Young type of guys that will get votes that are going to be able to go up there on the mound and give you a chance to win.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I played for the Twins, that was always the biggest thing. Is I felt like we just never really matched up in the pitching department against anybody. I felt like a lot of times we were playing from behind, and that puts a lot of pressure on the offense. So to have Pablo and Joe and dude, I mean, honestly, everyone's looked good. Paddock has looked really good too. Like, I can't believe the confidence that he has in that fastball. Like, I believe it wasn't his last start, but it was the one against the Red Sox. He was facing Devers, and he kept shaking, and you could tell these weren't like fake shakes. He's like, I don't want to throw any pitch but my fastball. He ends up gassing him up and striking him out like on a 3-2 pitch. He's got a lot of confidence now, and that to me will be the difference maker for the Twins going forward. Is okay, yeah, sure. You have Pablo, you have Ryan, and you have Bailey Ober, who has been one of the more consistent pitchers in baseball, over the last couple of years. What are you going to get out of 4 and 5? Is Paddock going to be the guy? Is Woods Richardson going to be the guy? Is someone else going to come up and figure that out? When you have a full 5 that you can rely on, that's when things get really, really fun for you. That's when you can start to win series after series after series after series. We've had that recently where you're like, oh, we're getting good starts. We're in every single game for the most part. That's like the funnest part when things are kind of clicking and you just have a chance every game. That's all you want as a team, and the Twins have been able to do that because the pitchers have given them the ability.
Random side street here. I have an early dumb baseball question. You mentioned pitchers shaking off pitches. When you're standing at the plate and a pitcher shakes off like 3 times, does that psych you out? Do you start thinking about, what is he just shake off 3 different pitches? Is he shaking to try and throw me off? What's it like when a pitcher is shaking off multiple pitches and you're up there?
I didn't really like it, because it does get you to start to think about.
So you gonna throw a knuckleball?
What is it? Yeah. I was like, "What? You don't have that many pitches, bro. Like you throw 2 for strikes. Why are you shaking 4 times?" So it does make you think a little bit there. But then there are times where you can tell the difference between a real shake and a fake shake. Like you can just tell. Not all the time, but with Paddock, I could tell that he was like, "Nope, yes, give me that one. I want that again." You could just tell. So
a fake shake, the catcher might give you like a fake shake sign, right? Like I just do a little.
Yes.
Does that
well, not anymore. I don't even know how they do that anymore. I guess.
Oh yeah.
They just press a button on their leg, right?
I don't know if they have. This was the universal shake sign, like shake this off. I don't know if they. I guess I haven't really paid attention to that. I don't think they just do that. And to the shake, I wonder if they have a button that's a shake sign now. That's a great question.
Fastball,
curveball,
shake.
No.
No.
Step off.
Awful pitch. Pitch. You
wipe
suck.
your hand.
I hate you as a
pitcher. There must be because that is part of the game. Like fake shakes are a thing, and there must be. Yeah, that's the next question I'll ask when I go back in June. I'm gonna make sure I figure that out.
We need a list of like investigative Trevor Plouffe questions. We can give you homework.
Yep, exactly right. Hey, if this indeed is a team that continues on its current track, Trev, and that could be a team that doesn't just make the playoffs but actually makes a run. Where do you feel like starting pitching, bullpen, where do you feel that as the deadline approaches currently right now, as we speak this week, that this team needs or could potentially use a trade to bolster things, including the back end of the bullpen, which obviously has some big question marks in my opinion right now?
That's a good question. I'm always apt to add another bat to the team, and you can find different spots for that. But I don't know if the Twins necessarily need that. If fully healthy, I think we could go different direction. I wouldn't even say back end of the bullpen because I believe the back end of the bullpen is pretty good. I would say maybe some bullpen depth. I think that's where we've run into some. Yeah, that's where we've run into some problems. Is if Griffin and Duran and Stewart aren't able to pitch, I think some of the guys that are in not the mop-up roles, like middle relief roles, I think we could use an upgrade there. A lefty specialist, I think we could maybe use an upgrade there as well. Yeah. So that always helps because in the playoffs, I mean, you don't necessarily need bullpen depth in the playoffs, but to get to the playoffs and to be in a good position, I think you do. So I think that's one easy area to add would just be like bullpen depth, and then I think around the the trade deadline, you just have to see like where the roster is at health wise. If they have a full roster and Royce is back and Buck is back and we're doing all these things and everything's good, I don't know if they need anybody on the position player side per se. And probably not even on the starting pitching side if things continue the way they're going. But I think the bullpen depth is probably where I would go. And shoot, if you wanted to add a Mason Miller type guy, go ahead. Go ahead. But I don't think that's really a need either. Like this really can be a somewhat complete roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Mason Miller is the guy that I was just about to bring up. I mean, that dude is filthy right now. Now, I know there's trepidation, and mostly rightful trepidation, about overpaying for relievers, because it's going to obviously still cost you prospects. And do you really want to trade, a really good hitter down the line that could obviously burn you? But dude, Mason Miller is putting up absurd numbers.
Yes.
And it's just like we talk about, with teams that are looking for frontline pitching, because then it just slides everyone back down a roll. Now, Mason Miller has a smaller sample size, but I mean, you're talking 1A, 1B with Duran. If you have any bridge between Mason Miller into Duran, like, good luck. Honestly, good luck against trying to get hits against those two guys. I think that would be right now my dream target. I think it's Mason Miller. I think that's who I'd go after.
I mean, anytime you can do that, you shorten the game so much. And if you really want to start talking playoffs, you're going to pare your starting pitching down to 3 guys, maybe 4 guys. You're going to pare your bullpen down to the top 4 guys, and basically nobody else pitches unless something wrong happens, you're behind in the game or something like that. So anytime that you can shorten a game like that and have a guy that's locked down, sure. But again, I don't know, when guys are healthy and you have, like I said, Brock Stewart, Griffin Jackson, and Duran back there, I don't know if you necessarily need that. It's a luxury.
Yeah.
We're gonna unveil a new weekly segment here. It's gonna be called Twin Stat Porn, gentlemen. Twin Stat Porn.
Is that porn music?
It is porn music.
That's
It's
what that
literally
would be.
called on our button bar. Porn
It's baseball music. I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's be clear. It's like 80s porn, though.
Like
Porns
late
don't
late
use this
70s,
now.
like
I
early
feel like
80s.
it's been taken out of porn. That's just my
How do you know?
Yeah, I'm not going
Rumor-
to comment any further.
just rumors I hear. Just rumors I hear.
I feel like the music in today's porn is a little bit more organy than the music in the early 80s.
That's
Oh, man.
that was a slip.
But if you took every hitter in baseball from the last 2 seasons, so last season and then the partial season this year, everyone with at least 450 plate appearances, Ryan Jeffers is 12th in weighted on base average, which is essentially OPS properly weighted for the value of OBP. The only hitters in front of him are Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Ronald Acuna, Aaron Judge, Freddie Freeman, Juan Soto, Yordan Alvarez, Marcell Ozuna, Matt Olson, Jose Altuve, and Corey Seager. He's ahead of Bryce Harper. He's ahead of Mike Trout. We talked about this a little bit on the Monday episode, but dude, that's pretty insane when you rank out the players that way and just plop Ryan Jeffers in at 12, Trevor.
It is insane. It feels like he's just kind of gone on this magical run. And it does seem like does he belong in that group? It's hard to envision really any catcher to be in that group, but also, a Minnesota Twins catcher. Like we had that for a long time with Joe Mauer. Then it's when you have I've always said this, when you have a catcher that can perform offensively like this, like, it's such a cheat code for a team. And we're actually seeing it more and more throughout the league. There's a lot of good offensive catchers in the league right now, which is kind of crazy to me. But yeah, I love watching him hit because I think he has a real deal approach. He has a real idea at the plate of what he wants to do. I think there's a lot of times where he's taken a daddy hack and he wants to drive the ball and he's going to slug for you. Then there's a lot of times where he settles down and puts together a really good AB. He gets the 2 strikes and he'll change his approach and he'll just try to put the ball in play. And, we've seen him shoot the ball. We've seen him just, put the ball in, like I said, put the ball in play, like have contact. It's been awesome to see. And I think he works really hard. And if there's anybody that is as confident as Ryan Jeffers at the plate, I want to know, because he goes up there and he thinks he's the best. Every time I talk to him, he's got that kind of mentality, and there's something about having that can kind of like, it's not easy to trick yourself into that every single day, and he's found a way to do it, and that it really helps with your success at the plate. If you can go up there with that positive mindset every single time, baseball will beat you down offensively if you let it. It will crush you. It's so hard, so difficult. You fail so much that you have to figure out a way to just get that positive energy, and he has it every single day. So I think that in itself is impressive. But the numbers, they just, every time you think they're going to fall off, they don't.
Speaking of that, how difficult, because I think across all sports, this is one of the most interesting things. How difficult is it to suspend your belief in common sense to thrive? I go back to when I covered the Wild in 2003. They're basically an expansion team, right? They go to the Western Conference Finals, and in the first round, one of the superstitions in that sport is you never mention the Stanley Cup by name because you think that you have a chance to win it. And I remember the players wouldn't mention it. I'm like, you don't really think you have a chance. And they won 2 rounds. But I mean, to your point, like baseball's the ultimate sport there. How difficult is that in season to have a mindset that really goes against what your brain is probably trying to tell you is the reality?
I mean, it gets more and more difficult if the results aren't there. If the results are there, and say you're getting a couple knocks every series, or you're working walks when you're not getting hits, it becomes easier. You're still helping your team win in some way. But when you start to have prolonged stretches of struggle, that's when it becomes very difficult. Even if you're the best at like making this confidence up, it becomes difficult the more and more you don't have hits. I was just trying to look that up. Like, I wonder how many games he's gone over, and back-to-back games he's gone over. I'm gonna look right now, to be honest with you.
He had a slow start, Jeffers, right?
Yeah.
I think he went like a few games like to start.
He went 0 for 11 his first 3 games.
Yeah,
That's because he wasn't swinging with full counts. He got a lot of full counts early.
Honestly, and then after that, like, he's had 1 game back-to-back. He's had 2. He's only had 2 times after that where he's had back-to-back games without hits.
Yeah.
So that helps so much when you're consistently getting a knock.
He's only had like 2 games in the last month where he hasn't had at least a hit.
Yeah, that's that helps you immensely. Like, even if it's 1 hit and you're 1 for 5, it's keeping it going like that can help out a lot. But again, I think that a lot of his success hinges on, like, he's got an excellent approach at the plate. Like, he has more than one approach at the plate. You can see him making adjustments. Like, he chokes up usually, but he'll choke up even more with 2 strikes, and he's just trying to put the ball in play. He also understands, I'm a strong dude. Like, I don't have to swing the bat 80 miles an hour like Giancarlo Stanton. Like, I can get there with a 75-mile-an-hour swing as long as I put my barrel on it the right way out in front. Like, he understands all of that. So, like I said, you're going to see different times where he's going up there trying to do damage, and then times where he's like, dude, maybe I don't see the pitcher that well. Maybe the game situation calls for it, and he takes out a different club from the bag and just kind of shoots the ball. It's been really impressive to watch.
I think that's what I've loved watching him hit, Travis, because in the age of, and he's been able to barrel some balls, don't be wrong, to your point, but like an average exit velocity, he has one of the worst in the league technically. Like, it's in the bottom 5% in terms of average exit velo. And this is where I think sometimes, and if people have never heard of Ryan Jeffers and they don't really watch him play, they're going to see that and be like, oh, he's just fluky and lucky and he's blooping these random balls.
What if he is? What if he's just like the luckiest hitter for 2 years?
He might be.
He could be.
No, his baseball savant
right?
his baseball savant is not a great look. If you went to those other guys who you mentioned, that he's in company with, you go to their baseball savants, pretty much everything's just blood red and they're great at everything. You're right. He's in the 5th percentile in average exit velocity. But 77th percentile in barrel percentage. So, like, there are things you can trade off. And again, like, I think the hits that have the lowest exit velocity, those are the ones that keep you going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're getting some knocks, like, yeah, they keep that positive mindset going.
Yeah. We will throw a official dumb baseball question at you here in a second after we shout out our friends at Dennis. Is that the Vinster making an appearance?
That was Vinny just decided, hey, I'm going to come up and bump your table, and then I'm going to come over here.
I took the collar off the dog. They love to shake. They love to shake the collar around his collar,
especially at about 5:45, 6 a.m. when he adjusts the first time and Dad isn't ready to get up yet. Yeah, that's always my favorite.
4:30 this morning for Stella.
Amazing. Yeah, Maya was 4:30 this morning.
What's
too.
up with that?
I gave her a swift no, and then she woke up again 15 minutes later and did it again. Like, okay, fine, we'll feed you.
Don't worry.
Anyways, if you like to ride motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes, whatever it is, Dennis Kirk has you covered at DennisKirk.com with over 185,000 parts, apparel, and accessories. All the top brands, same-day shipping, and free shipping on orders over $89. They also have a ride finder tool at their website. It's DennisKirk.com. We appreciate them supporting the Score North Twin Show. And our friends across the street, basically, the St. Paul Saints have one of the best minor league ballparks in the country. It's the Twins AAA affiliate. And this weekend, if you like 80s movies, Long Duck Dong from 16 Candles is going to show up. at
Big gap.
at a Saints game. And Friday Night Fireworks. There's a Royce Lewis bobblehead giveaway on Saturday at the Saints game, and it's Dog Day on the 19th on Sunday. So check out full schedule. Tickets available at saintsbaseball.com. Saintsbaseball.com. So, okay, this dumb question just comes from the show here. Declan saw a box piled high a couple weeks ago of shoes being delivered to Royce Lewis. You guys get Major League players just get stuff delivered, whether it's from your Nike rep or the league, the team, whatever. When you were in the bigs, Trev, what was your favorite thing to get delivered to you for free, essentially?
Oh man, that's great. I was a big batting glove guy. I needed fresh batting gloves. So whenever I got you get 12 sent to you at a time. If I slid and got dirt on them, I kind of didn't want to use them anymore. I know that sounds crazy. And listen, I didn't use batting gloves growing up. I know. I didn't use batting gloves growing up because what do you need batting gloves for? You don't need that. I never used batting gloves. In high school, didn't use them. So I got drafted without batting gloves. The first time I really used batting gloves was in pro ball. Wow. But then I fell in love, man. I don't know. There's just something about a fresh pair of batting gloves. So whenever I had a good amount of fresh batting gloves, I felt set. I didn't care. The cleats to me, whatever. I wanted actually to have my cleats worn in. They felt better, on your feet when they're worn in. But batting gloves, man, when you have a fresh batting glove.
Course
and
of
also,
a game, did you change them out?
If they got wet or something like that, of course. I was just.
But dirty, let's say you stole a base after your first at bat. They're all dirty, all grimy. Would you change them for your next at bat?
If we played at that horrible field in Chicago, whatever it's called now, U.S. Cellular used to be called.
Guaranteed rate field.
Guaranteed rate. If you dove in that messy slop and they got dirty, yeah, those are out. Those are going to some kid in the stands, and then I will go get new ones because it's just that feeling, man. It's a new golf glove feels that way, right? You put a new golf glove on, you're like, oh, my grip is just
doesn't
so
help
much
me,
better.
But yes,
doesn't
that's
help.
really
But it
Judgment
feels
here,
good, right?
by the way, we're not judging. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So
I love that. I love batting gloves.
So you got drafted. You were a first round pick who never wore batting gloves. And then you got to pro. So guys like Mark Grace back in the day who played their entire major league career with their bare hands and some pine tar. Do you think it would have been a game? Do you think he never slid a new pair of batting gloves on? Or do you think he did and hated it?
I'm not really sure how that works for some guys. I've always wondered that because wood bats, now everyone uses the aluminum bat grip, the lizard skins on their wood bat. If that was a thing when I first started, I probably wouldn't wear batting gloves. I probably would just have used my hands and the grip because that's what I was used to and I felt comfortable with that. But when I first started playing, that wasn't a thing, and you wouldn't dare that. If you did something like that, you were soft. You could not. When those first started coming to the big leagues, people were like, what are you doing to your bat? That was frowned upon. And now it just makes so much. It's one of those things wow, that makes so much sense. Why haven't we been doing that forever?
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's
peer
not easy
pressure
to do. There's millions of dollars on the line. Do what feels comfortable, but no, not if it looks dumb. Wait a second. This is my
That's
career.
baseball, yeah, early 90s, 2000s baseball. That was a lot of that, for sure. We've gotten past that, which is good.
Yeah.
To go back to your point about, if you had a good game, going home and watching the highlights of that game, Trev, what is the most vain, and you don't have to name the names here. If you want to, that's great. What's the most vain?
Names.
What's the most vain thing that you saw a teammate do, or that he consistently did, as far as no matter what, he was going to either watch himself or there had to be guys.
Can we all say a name on 4?
Incredibly vain.
Say a name on 3, and let's see if we all say the same name.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Brian
Danny
Valencia.
Valencia.
I knew you were going to say Danny Valencia.
Swaggy V.
I'd imagine Danny, knowing him, never wavered in his confidence. He had that in spades, whether it was, right or wrong, struggling or not. He actually had it, right? And but Morneau was the first guy that I saw do this. He had his iPad, had his homers uploaded to it, and every single game, before the game, he'd have his iPad as he's putting his uniform on, and it was just homers. Just a highlight reel of homers. And he would just watch it over and over again. And then I remember we started putting the pitcher on the TVs when we were doing our hitters meeting. And for a while, we were just putting like whatever random pitches of the pitcher. And then we're like, why are we watching all these guys strike out against this guy? That doesn't feel good in my head. So then hitters meetings became, okay, let's watch all the times this guy got like hit around. So it became that. Like that's such a silly thing, but as a hitter, you just needed anything to make you feel confident. Like I didn't want to see this guy. Like we started talking about, oh, he throws 7 pitches, and I'm like, that's too much for me. Like I want to know what he throws for a strike, and I want to see when he throws a strike, him getting hit, because that's what I want to do. It's like you have to put that into your mind, and I mean, watching those highlights helped. A lot of people do that now. You're watching your highlights, you're just getting into that positive mindset. But Morney was one of the first people to do that, man. He'd sit and eat goji berries, drink his juice, and watch a Homer tape.
It makes sense. Like imagine if it was boxing or mixed martial arts, if you just only put on the tape of you or someone getting mangled by the opponent. Like, oh, here's an arm bar within 10 seconds, fight's over.
No, you want to see the pitcher getting beat. So because you want to go do that, it's silly, but when you think about it, it makes sense, right?
So all right, we should make more room for dumb baseball questions this summer because we do get them in the YouTube comment section. So keep sending them in to the new Score North YouTube channel if that's where you're consuming this, and if you could give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple and Spotify, that helps grow the show as well. So
and easy on Danny Valencia, guys. Come on.
I didn't say Valencia.
Danny Valencia.
I said Dozier.
Dozier loved watching homers. Are you kidding me?
I know he did.
You watch it too. Yeah,
that's what I
Those
figured.
towering tanks to left field that he would hit.
Oh my gosh, man! He looks the same. I actually see him in pictures from time to time, like on his wife's Instagram, and I'm like, that suit, you've had that suit since we played, Brian. Come on, man. It still fits into it. That's a good thing.
That's good.
His drunken display after not playing for the Nats at the parade is one of my favorite things of all time.
Legendary performance. Yeah.
Because he didn't even really play for him. Like he was on the bench,
man?
But he just went nuts, and I was like, good for Doge.
The best celebration when Phil Nevin got traded to the Twins in 06 or whatever it was, and like he had like 10 at-bats, and he led the celebration in that clubhouse. Hey, there's a role for everyone. There's a role for everyone on a baseball team, man.
I love that. I love it.
So there he is, Trevor Plouffe from John Boy Media, from Bally Sports North, and every Tuesday here on the Score North Twin Show. Good stuff, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
See you next week.